Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is March 21st, 2023, and we are getting in, yes, volume 37. I've already done volume 36 just now, 15 minutes ago, which will be premiering tonight at 6 p.m. I have the video ready. It's gonna be premiering at 6, and the volume 37 is going to be premiering at 7 p.m. All right, so without further ado, let's get straight into your comments and questions. Healthy you and me, thanks a lot for detailed answer for my question. You are very welcome. We're starting with some thanks. Moving further to Lynette Walford. After you get approved and application goes to NVC, do we file for the DS-160? And tell me about the visa fees. This for the fiance K1 visa. Okay, so whenever it goes to the NVC, that's a really good thing about the NVC. Once you are done everything in the portal, it already includes all of the applications that are required for the immigrant visa. It already includes the sponsorship information, and it already includes the adjustment of status. So basically, once you're documentarily qualified with NVC, you are all done with the process. Literally the only thing that's left is to go for a medical examination, and then for an interview to you go for an interview to just get the visa, basically. All right, they will ask you a few questions. They will ask you to provide some documents showing that you have the original documents of whatever was submitted, like birth certificate, marriage certificates, whatever. Some questions, in cases of spouse marriage, they do ask some additional questions. I actually answered to, I think it was Nicholas in volume 36. He was asking me about this trickish questions that they ask at the embassy whenever it comes to petitions for spouses, whenever it comes to marriages. And the reason why they do it is because there is a lot of fraud associated whenever it comes to the marriages, unfortunately. So if everything is good on your end, you don't have to worry about anything. There's none of these tricky questions are going to be tricky for you. Everything is going to be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But to answer your initial question, you don't have to worry about the DX160 because all of it is done within the NVC. So once you're documentarily qualified with NVC, you are good to go. Thank you for asking, Lynette. I appreciate your question. Okay, moving further to Gabby Biz. Hi, is there any way to avoid having to exit to Mexico in order to get the green card? I'm married to a citizen and have 4 citizen children. My husband is disabled and I do most of the stuff around the home for him and my children. Gabby, excellent question. Thank you very much for asking. So I'm going to ask you a quick follow-up question. What status currently do you have right now? And which status did you have before you get married? All right. So since you're already here, it means you already had something. All right. Maybe it was a non-immigrant status, like a student, visitor, or maybe you had some kind of immigration process going on. Basically how you were in the United States, all right, with which status. But to answer your question, yes, you don't really need to leave the United States because you're already here. Plus, you have a very important reason. All right, your husband is disabled, so obviously you are there for him. You're helping him out. So with that being said, what I would recommend you look into is the form I-539. Basically, it's the extension or change of status. Non-immigrant though, that's non-immigrant. And basically, I would recommend requesting a K3 visa. It's a non-immigrant visa for spouses of U.S. citizens, and you are basically have that, non-immigrant visa, and you can stay here in the United States legally without any problems until you are waiting for that adjustment of status with the I-130 petition. And let me actually read. Nope, you didn't specify. So another follow-up question that I'm going to ask you: have you guys already submitted the I-130 petition for alien relative? Basically, your husband, he has to petition for you. He's going to be the petitioner. You're going to be the beneficiary for you to become the permanent resident based on the fact that you are married to U.S. citizen. Whenever it comes to U.S. citizens, it's about 10-month processing with USCIS, and then about 2-3 months processing with the NVC and the whole interview and all that sort of stuff. So within a year, you should already have your permanent residence here in the United States. So while you're waiting for that petition to process, if you have the K3 non-immigrant visa, then you don't have to worry about your status. You don't have to worry about going back to Mexico, because obviously that's in this case it's really pointless to do that. So I'm gonna put this, and I will also show you really quickly, and I'll use this opportunity to navigate the USCIS. So this is the USCIS. This is the official government website. This is where I get all of the information that I provide in my videos. And usually I mention in the beginning of the videos, but this time I forgot because I already done the volume 36. I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information is from official government sources. So 2 forms. The first one I would recommend you definitely looking at is the form I-130. It's the petition for alien relative. Here you go, and it can be filed online. It's very straightforward, very simple. It is your husband filling it out for you, basically, because he's the petitioner and you are the beneficiary, all right? And this one, I would assume you guys already started it, but if you didn't, definitely get on it as soon as possible, all right? And then another one is the 539, which is the application to extend change non-immigrant status. And as you can see, you can file it online. So that petition, I-130, is the main petition for you to get your permanent residence here based on the fact that you're married to the US citizen. And this I-539 is so that you can have that K3 visa, which is a non-immigrant visa of a spouse of a US citizen, so that you can remain in the United States and that you don't have to go back and forth for no reason. Okay, so let's move on to the next comment from Curly Dog. Can you tell me about the social media checks, if there are, for asylum, and what do you suggest? Wow, excellent question, Curly Dog. I'm really glad you asked that. I have not had a question like this yet on this channel, so everyone who's watching and everyone who is dealing with an asylum application, I think this is going to be helpful. Yes, absolutely, USCIS, they definitely do look at the social media whenever it comes to asylum applications. So basically, whenever it comes to asylum applications, USCIS, how they do the research, because they definitely do the research. They don't have the information, they don't have the access to certain government information from foreign governments, but everything that is associated with you, like a public search, let's say, for example, they just type in your name, right? Or let's say in your asylum application, you said that there is this person, specific person that is persecuting you, or he's the leader of organization that is persecuting you, or something along those lines. This kind of information, the search that they do is social media, search engines, Google, just go into the Google, type in the name and see what comes up. This is the kind of research that they do. So whenever it comes to the social media, yes, they definitely check it. If it's a public open profile, then that's it. It's all open for them, and then they can go through it and see basically if there's something that contradicts the application. And the example for something like this would be, let's say a person applied for asylum and they're claiming that they're being persecuted, blah, 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 right? But let's say I'm an immigration officer and I go and I Google the name of the person that is claiming the asylum. His Facebook comes up. I go into his Facebook profile, and then I go into the dates that are on application between the certain dates that he was claiming that he's been persecuted, that he's been maybe hurt or something like this. And then I go into the nearby dates, pictures of that person on social media, and then I see that this person is basically vacationing in his home country and having fun, and everything looks good from the pictures. That is very contradicting information. That is the kind of stuff that is gonna cause some serious problems during the asylum interview, because it will definitely come up. All right, and I would discourage really anyone who's watching, if you have a slightest idea of faking an asylum application, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just don't. It's way too complicated of the process to just you're better off just not starting it at all. It's not worth it. Apply for the asylum only if it's a legitimate threat, if there's legitimate persecution. For the status, it is not worth it. All right. So again, from Curly Dog, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your questions. Moving further to a question from Haptamu Tafa. I hope I'm pronouncing, probably I'm mispronouncing, I'm sorry. Hello, sir. Long-winded scenario, but I just wanted any advice. I am in the process of bringing my mother, but I also want to bring her two daughters, my stepsisters. One is 20, other is 19 years old. I have filled the paperwork mentioning she is the primary person, but that I would like them to accompany her to live here. Everyone's paperwork, civil docs have been submitted, and all the docs were just accepted yesterday. They said I lack a 3-year tax with W-2s, but luckily I found a financial sponsor. I have yet to hear if all 3 people will be accepted or just her. Any ideas from your end based on previous experience? Also, I think the next step is interview once med stuff is done. Any advice for that? Any advice from you is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much, Haptamu, for asking the question. Congratulations that the document's been accepted. Congratulations that you found a financial sponsor. A lot of times it's really hard to find a financial sponsor, someone who is willing to put their name on somebody's application saying, hey, I'm taking responsibility for this person. It's a blessing to have a financial sponsor. So congratulations that you've done that. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. Were there separate I-130 filed for your stepsisters? All right. The reason why I'm asking is because whenever it comes to petitioning for a relative, I-130 you submit specifically for a certain individual. All right. So even if it's just your parents, you have to submit a separate I-130 for your mother, and you have to submit a separate I-130 for your father. So I want to ask you, did you submit 3 separate I-130s? One for your mother, one for your one stepsister, and one for your other stepsister. Now, whenever it comes to parents of U.S. citizens, and you are a U.S. citizen, if you are, inviting your parents, if you're inviting your sisters, your siblings, stepsisters, whenever it comes to the parents, there is no immigrant visa cap for those categories. So as soon as they're approved, as soon as they're documentarily qualified by the NVC, the immigrant visa is already available. All they have to do is to go to the U.S. Embassy, do the medical examination, go to the U.S. Embassy, get their immigrant visa, and that's it. They can come here, and they already have the permanent residence card. Great. Now, for siblings of U.S. citizens, unfortunately, there is a cap. And it's a pretty long wait. It's about 15-16 years of backlog that you have to wait for those petitions for the immigrant visa to become available for those petitions. So it's not really the review of the petitions. A lot of these petitions are already, have been approved, have been documentarily qualified. Everything is already good on those petitions, but the visa is still not available. So a lot of people are just waiting. So, in your situation, if the I-130 has been already submitted for your stepsisters, I would recommend looking at backup options, all right? Because obviously you don't want, they're young, so you don't want to leave them there by themselves. Obviously, with their mother, you want them to travel with their mother. Probably will be easier for them and for the mother too. So I would definitely look at some backup options, and your backup option might be something as simple as a non-immigrant B1, B2, just a visitor. You can say, hey, their petition is still pending, but as for now, I want them so that they can accompany their mother, flight here, your mother and their mother, and then obviously just basically getting a regular B1, B2 visa, just visitor for pleasure. So they're visiting you. Unfortunately, they will have to deal with, extending that status, going back and forth, but at least they will be able to visit, and there won't be that much of distance and separation, all right? As with, some cases, unfortunately, where, a person is in the United States and the relative is somewhere else, and now they're just waiting for the immigrant visa to be available. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Haptamu. Again, if you could follow up with an answer, that would be great. And everyone who's watching, if you are responding to my follow-up request, to my follow-up question, make sure to please respond as a separate comment, not within your comment, because for whatever reason, if you do respond like that, YouTube does not send me notification. I don't know why. So if you can, please submit a separate comment, and it will appear here in the comments wall for me. All right, let's move on to the next one from Folaset Fahimi. Very helpful answers. Thank you very much, Folaset, for watching. Moving further to Jackie Velasquez. Okay, so perfect. All right, perfect. So that was the question that I could not translate because I don't speak Spanish. And Miriam, thank you so much for translating. Miriam is helping me out so much with this. Translation: my green card never arrived. How do I replace it? Okay, great question. So Jackie and Miriam, if you could respond, that would be this would be great. I'll probably, you know what, I'm gonna do this like this, and I'm gonna respond to this, and I think Miriam should get my response as well. So whenever it comes to lost documents, right? Especially the green card, definitely you will have to reach out to the USCIS customer support line, and I'm gonna actually use this opportunity to navigate it. I don't think I've ever done it for USCIS. So basically, this is the official U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. This is the government website .gov. All right. So we're gonna scroll all the way down, and you will see Contact USCIS. We're gonna click on that. And then let's see, contact center. We need a contact center. There it is, contact center, USCIS contact center. No, we don't need the case status. We need the contact center. So we're gonna click on contact center again. Online account, online tools, get information, live assistance. Okay, now here's the number. It's a toll-free number. So I would recommend calling this number as soon as possible, because whenever it comes to lost documents, it's an actual document, and you don't want to kind of get stuck in a limbo where you submit another application. You need to figure out what happened to the document, why it got lost, especially if it's no fault of yours. You know, if you did, for example, how can it be our fault, right? Let's say if you move and if you do not update USCIS about your move, it's our fault. If we do that, it's our fault, you know, and the document got lost. We should update USCIS obviously with our updated mailing address. But if it's nothing like this, if you did not move, if you weren't, I don't know, reckless with your mail, you missed it or something like this, it's obviously the fault of USCIS. So you definitely need to contact them as soon as possible. Let them know that the document is missing, and basically tell them, hey, you either need to send me another one, or you need to tell me what to do. Most likely they will schedule an in-person appointment, and that's another thing that you can actually do. There's an in-person appointment that you can schedule with your nearby USCIS office, and they have those in they have their field offices in all major cities. So most likely they will have you schedule an appointment and come out and actually take a look into that case. So that would be the best thing to do. Hopefully they're not gonna make you file another one, but they rarely do. Usually whenever it's lost, when the document is lost, or a form, maybe it's notification or anything like this, receipt for example, if it's lost due to their fault, they don't make you file another application. That's why it is very important to report it and let them know that it is missing. So I already answered Mark's a while ago, so we're all done for today. I'm glad I did the volume 37 so I could catch up with everybody's comments. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below, and I will be happy to address them. As always, thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.